Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Tech Summit podcast on our new home. I'm Chris.
I am Francisco.
And the social media will, as always, still be right down there.
As per usual.
All right. So we have a couple of things to talk about. Possibly one of the first things is the fact that I might need a new phone after having just tossed it over there. Just to make sure it doesn't go off over here. Toss the phone off stage here, if we'll call it that, and then smashed it right into a big can of adhesive there.
Oh, man. Am I already going to have to prepare like a list of recommendations for you?
I hope not.
Under a certain price tag, of course.
I hopefully not. My phone is not that old. Google Pixel 3a for the record. And I don't know. I mean, there is a crack because there is one time a couple months ago, because the thing is, so for 3 years, I went 3 years with an iPhone 6s, and I did not at any point really like damage it. Like I never put a screen protector on it. I had the case, no screen protector.
Egregious, but okay.
Very egregious, especially because I was thinking like, oh, I'll put the screen protector on it eventually. I'll do it later. Never did it. The only time that screen broke is when I actually hurled my phone like baseball pitch, just wah, and then it broke. Sure, but obviously that's gonna happen. No, it's gonna happen. That's gonna when you hurl it at that speed, it's gonna happen. This time around, Google Pixel, I'm thinking, okay, let me take more care of it because the iPhone towards the end of its life had problems with the battery, the screen, all that stuff.
Yeah.
We went to that a little bit a couple episodes ago, and so I thought, okay, fine, I'll put a proper screen protector on the phone this time. You have the case and you have a glass screen protector because the plastic ones I don't think they really.
No, yeah, like they don't help with shatter resistance or anything like that. It's really more like scratch resistance.
Exactly, and I feel like you should be a lot more concerned about shattering than scratching personally.
Yeah, I always get a glass screen protector.
Right.
My family always gets glass screen protectors wherever they can because, they're not me. They've shattered a bunch of phones already by now.
Right. Right. So, what happens is that I'm outside. I'm doing my shopping and doing all my usual stuff, and I have wired earbuds on. And I realize this is about to probably be an endorsement towards wireless and the lack of headphone jacks here. But when I was exiting the store, my wire caught onto the door, and so right outside the pocket goes the phone, alongside the headphones, just yanks out and everything.
Oh,
and
no.
It hits the floor. I'm thinking, all right, no big deal. It's all right. Screen protector. I'm okay. Perfectly fine. And it just so happens that my phone decided to completely mess with me and go for the tiniest sliver corner where the screen protector did not cover. And it did a hairline fracture in multiple directions underneath the screen protector.
Oh, no.
So my screen is cracked while the screen protector was perfectly fine.
I guess there are going to be those very rare fringe situations where that ends up happening. But, I mean, the chances with your case and your screen protector, the chances.
The glass shatterproof screen protector, which by the way isn't shatterproof, by the way, but
It's not like they shatter.
they do shatter.
Yeah.
It just
Something similar did happen to me recently. Well, not that recently, but back when I was using wired earbuds with my phone connected to the USB-C port. By this point, you're lucky to still have a headphone jack, FYI. So, I was just listening on my Google Pixel earbuds, not buds, but earbuds, like the regular wired ones. And I was just walking on Target, and then this one guy passes right next to me, and I think he had like a pen sticking out of his pocket or something. And my wire just somehow gets caught right there. My earbuds fly off.
How does this man have a pen sticking out of his pocket?
I'm not sure.
Is that a pen in your pocket, or are you happy to see me?
No,
You sure it was a pen?
it was definitely a pen because it was in his back pocket.
Oh.
Yeah. So what ended up happening
Yeah.
is that my earbuds got caught on the pen, And then he's like turning around going, yo, 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 what's going on? And like my phone's on the floor, no regard for my earbuds. And I felt bad at that moment because I was like, if I were in your situation, I'd be kind of annoyed too. So I was like, I'm sorry. I don't know how
That
that
just sounds
happened.
like an annoyance for everybody involved, really.
Yeah.
Just
It-
a huge inconvenience for everybody.
Yeah, it was just a hassle. So like afterwards, he was like, and he just gave me like a weird look, and he just like kept going.
I mean, that's most people. I feel like that's most people in that particular situation. You just said yourself, you'd probably be annoyed by it too.
Yeah.
And speaking of annoyances, tangent number 1 for today's episode: $70 games for the next generation.
That is one that I'm going to have a tough time swallowing, because the arguments that I have heard for that have been, oh, it's so that we can have less microtransactions or none at all, so that we can just get the full-on content and that any given video game is supposed to have, instead of just getting most of the game and then leaving parts out for DLC. And I call bullcrap on that one.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I think that they're still going to continue to do that. In fact, they've already been raising the price of DLC little by little every year. Like now, some DLC, and I'm not even talking like DLC packs, but just like straight up, okay, like this is the DLC that we're going to release for you this year. Not so much even like an expansion pack or anything like that, which is what a lot of MMOs get. But in this case, it's just like a straight up DLC. 25, 30 bucks, sometimes 40. And that is pretty intense.
And of course, we also have to talk about microtransactions and your virtual currencies.
Yeah.
Mostly, I want to focus on that one because the very first game to announce a $70 price point was NBA 2K21.
Of course.
Naturally, the
Naturally.
sports title from 2K.
I bet they were so excited too when it came on.
Now, I feel we should put this on the table out here. You are not a sports guy.
I'm not, no.
I am very visibly a sports guy. Not really basketball, more baseball personally, but
Fair.
nevertheless, I do play sports games every now and then. Maybe
Okay.
like every 2, 3, 4 years, I'll like look into a latest installment. Or, PlayStation Plus has actually given away NBA games in the past. They
Mhm.
gave away 2K16 a couple years back. They gave away 20 a couple months ago
Okay.
on PS Plus. But the problem is just that in a lot of these cases, the games are very pay to win. Like I know NBA 2K particularly is egregious for like slowing down your progress in your career mode
Mm-hmm.
until like, it's sort of like bottlenecking you in a way until you pay up for the virtual currency. Like you'll have your career mode, and in order to upgrade your player, you need to play the game, which totally fine, because that's what everyone always tries to say when they excuse virtual currencies and microtransactions. Oh,
Right.
you can just play the game; it's optional. But at the same time, the game doesn't really allow that because your player isn't very good. You want to upgrade this player by boosting their stats through like playing the game.
Yeah.
Problem is, because your player is bad, you don't get any minutes in the game. You don't get any playing time in the game, and so as a result, you can't boost your player. Your player sucks because you're not getting any minutes. You're not getting any minutes because your player sucks, and you're in an endless loop until you say, "Fine, all right, here's $10. Please let me upgrade my player without needing to do that."
So that's how it's worked all along.
In NBA 2K, yes. Again, I'm not familiar with certain other ones, but like mine is going to be MLB The Show, for example.
Mhm.
MLB The Show also has a similar thing in that, like, if you want to fast track your player's development, you can pay up for the virtual currency and the experience points. It hasn't been that egregious, honestly.
Okay.
Like they don't like slow you down on purpose to try and pressure you into it. Honestly, MLB's thing is more closer to like what FIFA does with the trading cards, kind of.
Okay.
Like, FIFA has Ultimate Team or whatever.
I mean, that's at least fun.
And MLB has Diamond Dynasty. So that's where the most of the microtransactions would probably come from there, the trading card packs or whatever it is.
Gotcha.
But nevertheless, Like you said, the big excuse that a lot of people would come up with is, oh, we need to price these games higher so that way we can make up for the higher costs.
Hmm.
And well, first off, sports games I feel in general would have a lower cost just because they're often reusing assets.
Yeah, let's be frank, they're just recycling the same game and just adding fewer things to it every year.
They add gameplay tweaks. They add obviously new roster players.
Yeah.
Very slowly over the years, you'll start to see graphical improvements as well.
Yes. However, that involves you buying a game every single year.
No, I feel if you buy it every single year, you won't even notice that. It's more like if you wait 4 or 5 years, then you'll be like, oh wow, really? I see the difference now.
Oh, well, yeah, true, yeah.
Like
if you go from like 2013 to 2020, I guess that
yeah,
you're
you'll
definitely
definitely see a difference there. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Like if you buy a FIFA from the beginning of the generation to now at the end of it, you'll probably notice that difference. But
Mm.
in any case, just in general, it's like, okay, games cost more.
Yeah.
We'll be generous and we'll say that yes, video games do in fact cost more. Be more efficient with your budgets, or just because you know what it is, games don't necessarily always fail that much. I mean, one of the bigger news is when it comes to video games. I know we're not a video game podcast, but one of the
yeah.
one of the bigger news pieces in video gaming right now is the amount of money that has currently been lost by Square Enix for the Avengers game, and how much they lost in there. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of blame that can be thrown around. A big part of it has to be, though, that they spent a lot of money on marketing. They spent a lot of money on the IP to make a game that most people didn't really care to play.
Yeah.
They banked a lot on those microtransactions and people staying in tune for those things, only for it to not. Wait, no. No, Avengers does have microtransactions, I believe. It's no loot boxes, they said.
Okay.
They said no loot boxes, no gambling mechanics.
There have been other issues regarding Square Enix and their budgeting too in the past.
That's right.
Like I remember waking up one morning to me seeing an article saying, the season pass 2 for Final Fantasy 15 has officially been canceled. The director quits.
Yeah, no.
It was just pretty tough. And supposedly, Square Enix had lost around $30 million
Right.
as a result, or like there was just some kind of connection there between the
Totally.
loss in money and then the director leaving, and now the CLC being totally incomplete and us only getting like 1/4 of what we were promised, and then that game is essentially dead. As much as I love it.
Yeah, no. And Square Enix also got in trouble. They didn't get in trouble. They got laughed at a few years back when they called Tomb Raider a financial disappointment despite selling millions of copies. Like it didn't sell as many millions as they wanted. They did the same thing to Deus Ex, by the way. And for the record, Deus Ex also basically got put on hold because of this Avengers game.
I see.
What's it called? But okay, so you know what? It's really difficult to sort of gauge these things because yes, games do cost more, especially if you're going to be putting your developers under crunch. You have to pay your developers better.
Obviously,
you have to pay your developers.
Yeah.
I really, really hope CD Projekt Red is paying their developers, but at the same time, it's like because like most of the games that have so far proposed going up to $70 are the ones that do implement microtransactions and pay to win things. Like these are games that in many other cases would be free to play, but cost you the full amount. The only game I can think of that is currently $70 that is not under that category, that is straight up just you pay for it once and that's it, the game is yours, is Demon Souls. The game you want.
Yes. And it is a remake, so I don't think that there were any kind of DLC implemented to the first one. I never played the first one. The original one. Yeah, right. So with that said, I don't see them really necessarily doing that, but I do kind of anticipate more remakes coming up, or just more remasters of anything from Soft.
I mean, the most I can think of is maybe a Dark Souls trilogy collection for the next gen.
Maybe so, like updated with like ray tracing.
Because they already remastered Dark Souls a couple years ago.
Yeah, they did it for the first one, and technically they did do it for the second one in a way.
Enhanced.
Yeah, it was mostly for like I think PC, and I'm not sure if the current gen consoles actually got that.
Scholars of the First Sin or something like that, was it?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, the next gen got it.
Okay.
Or I say next gen.
And next gen minus
what is
Switch.
what is about to be last gen. Got
Yeah.
it. As we are, T minus a couple of days away from the Xbox Series X launch, and then just a few days back further for PS5.
Actually, doesn't the Xbox launch like tomorrow exactly as of the recording of this video?
That is right.
Yeah.
That is right. We are that close.
Yeah, we are that close
We are
actually.
very, very close.
And then the PlayStation 5 would be just I mean in 3 days from the day of recording.
Basically, yeah. And
Yeah.
we still have all the reviews for the consoles coming out. Reviews for games coming out. Assassin's Creed Valhalla's reviews have started trickling in too.
How have those been actually?
Pretty good actually.
That's great.
I think 85 Metacritic score for PC, and then around that ballpark for the consoles. PS5's copy has not been reviewed to what I last checked. I know Series X has, but otherwise it's mostly just been the current consoles and the PC.
Okay.
But no, very good, very good. I think a lot of people are saying that's more or less on the par with like what Odyssey did, and Assassin's Creed is a totally different subject. That is definitely not tech-related. That's something that I can go into for quite a bit.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that is exciting about next-gen tech in general is ray tracing.
Definitely ray tracing.
I mean, that's something that has been touted for a while. And I can tell you now that I mean, as you already know, I got the opportunity to test out the RTX 3080. I no longer have it in hand.
Yep.
And I tried playing Shadow of the Tomb Raider, max settings, at 1080p, with ray tracing turned all the way up, upwards of 100 frames per second, which was something that I never saw from something like an RTX 2080.
I mean, wasn't Tomb Raider fairly well optimized to begin with, though?
It was pretty good, but if you wanted to play with ray tracing on, you would still get some pretty low frame rates. Like you'd almost be playing with like a PC quality, but then like the frame rates that you would expect from a console. So you would easily drop to like 30 or 40.
Okay.
Just depending on how much you end up making adjustments to it. I would say that overall the sweet spot when it comes to ray tracing and performance when it comes to Shadow of the Tomb Raider will probably be somewhere like medium to high versus highest and low, because like that's when you really start to notice a difference.
Yeah.
And then at the highest, it's not really that big of a difference. And then at the low end, it's like hardly any different from the base. But with that being said, with these graphics cards now finally being able to handle ray tracing so much better, I'm very excited to see how these consoles end up handling ray tracing moving forward.
Would you agree with the hot take that ray tracing is the biggest graphical leap that we've seen in quite a while?
I would say that that's really most of what is going to end up encompassing next gen. If I'm honest,
it's going to be a lot of ray tracing.
Yeah, I think that ray tracing is going to be the technology that really pushes graphics forward. And I think that rather than improving on like textures or like models for characters and stuff like that, I mean they're already so good as they are now.
They can be better.
They could be better, but the question is like how much better can they actually get?
I feel like that at that point it comes down to real-time rendering engines getting better and being able to support more polygons as things go on, because obviously we talk about how good video games are, they severely lag behind movies.
Oh yes, like in terms of CGI.
If you look at like one of the highest quality games and then compare it to a Pixar film, there is still a long ways to go to catch up to them. And a good part of the reasoning for that is because video games are, in fact, rendering these things in real time, whereas a movie, you render it once. Or multiple passes. You do multiple render passes. But the point is, like, you don't have to render it in real time as people are watching the movie.
Exactly.
Like, you're not going to have some weird loading screen if someone rewinds further back in the movie or anything like that, because it's trying to pop in all the textures. It's not going to do that.
Yeah, right. And I do understand that there is that difference there. So, I still think that ray tracing is really what's going to make that difference. At the very least with consoles, like it's going to help in making graphics in general for games that are being rendered in real time all of them, that it's going to be the lighting and those reflections that that we're really going to notice
Hmm.
in the long run, at the very least for now. And then eventually, I'm sure that that's going to be the main piece of tech that NVIDIA is probably going to be working on to continue to push on. And then hopefully we will really start seeing an even bigger leap from early PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X games to, let's say, games that come out like in the middle of their life cycle. So I would say like maybe 3-4 years from now,
Right.
even 2.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see that coming. There's also been discussion about the possibility of enhanced. I know jumping ahead of the gun here because we haven't even launched the actual systems yet. We're right on the cusp of it, but we haven't actually done it. Well, I mean, by the time this podcast comes up, Series X will be out. But
Yes.
but people are talking already about enhanced versions of these consoles because they're running on Zen 2 cores. And, we're up to Zen 3 now. We just launched Zen 3.
Hmm.
I know it doesn't seem that way because, I didn't get one. Most people
Right.
weren't able to walk out with one. But
It's unfortunate that those stock issues ended up extending to the CPUs.
yeah, so if you're looking for an AMD GPU, please, Godspeed.
Yeah.
Just good luck.
Yeah, people are very hungry right now for those two particular pieces of tech. So really try your hardest to
Scalpers
get it.
realize where the money is right now.
Yes,
That's what it is.
it's not in cryptocurrency. It's in the things that make the cryptocurrency happen.
Wait, hold on, but that's the thing. Remember that news. The top end AMD GPU, what was it, the 6900 or
Mhm.
yeah, the 6900 XT.
Yes.
Yes. All right, cool. I remember my stuff. All right. Yes. It outperforms the 3090 in crypto mining.
Ah.
Whoa.
Whoa. Unbelievable.
Can't wait.
I know.
Let me hop in the DeLorean, go back a couple 3 years or so. Maybe I'll tell everybody, it's
Yeah, and they'll be like, "Oh, wow. We'll wait."
I'll
And-
start mining all those bitcoins there,
Yeah.
Maybe
things
some
to save up.
Dogecoin on the side.
Oh goodness. I feel like 1 or 2 bitcoins might be enough to actually afford one of those graphics cards.
You can't. It's not worth mining.
It's not worth mining, but if you already have Bitcoin.
If you already have Bitcoin, sure, but like if I hope people aren't actually going into getting these cards with the intent on doing like Bitcoin mining. I hope not.
Yes. I also hope for that because I mean that's one reason why we were the main reason why we were having stock issues 2 years ago when it came to graphics cards and even certain CPUs. RAM also was a really big deal. Like it was pretty tough to actually find DDR4 RAM at MSRP.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's nice to see that things have normalized in the case of RAM. In the case of CPUs, it looks like things are starting to go south. And when it came to GPUs, everybody anticipated that it was going to go south, and it did.
Those are Antarctica at this point.
Yes.
As far south as you can go.
Exactly. So, with that said, I just hope that everybody that is looking for new hardware, at this time, the only thing that is really going to have some stock or that you have a chance of getting
smartphones.
Yeah. So if you have Game Pass,
Game xCloud.
xCloud, yes, xCloud.
Game Pass is not cloud.
I am so sorry. I always mistake the two. But yeah, Game Pass or GeForce Now.
xCloud. You said Game Pass again.
xCloud.
xCloud.
GeForce Now, and Stadia.
PS Now.
PS Now.
That's right. Can't forget about PS Now anymore, right?
Right. Or PS Pass. I'm messing with you at this point.
The PS Pass. The PS Pass. All right. Back then we used to just call that a bathroom pass, but
Oh, good
okay.
one. Now where's that sound effect? Play it, please.
All right. Let's see which one were you going for here? I got the perfect one here. There we go.
There we go.
That was way too loud.
It was. It's already said and done though.
All right. There we go. All right. I mean, It's funny though because you mentioned that specifically because two parts thing that I want to sort of comment on here. First off, the right to repair thing that we were talking about with the iPhone. Turns out the European Union is actually trying to like pass some legislation to ensure the right to repair, at least in Europe. And I wonder if you have any thoughts on that. I mean, obviously, it's a good thing for the fight to right to repair.
Right. Yeah.
Elsewhere in the world, Canada had some sort of legislation about that, which unfortunately did not pass.
That's unfortunate.
And apparently it was even on the ballots in some countries' election this past week or so. I don't remember which one. It might have been Botswana, probably, I think.
Another English-speaking country, probably?
No, New Zealand's was a month ago. But in any case, maybe I just got my timeline wrong. You know, who knows? In any case, there was that. There's also the fact that you're planning on doing a video about Stadia soon, aren't you?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Very soon. So it's been almost an entire year since Stadia launched, and I know that there have been a lot of detractors, and I've definitely been guilty on being one of those people in the past before, because Stadia at first when it came out, and even just months later, honestly, still didn't really justify the cost of having to pay a subscription. And also having to buy the games. And the games don't really go on that good of a sale. Like, it's usually not that great. And in terms of performance, which is also a very important metric to consider, I have files. I have access to 5G network. And even then, if I'm playing something like Destiny, I remember back then, I was still having a lot of issues in regards to, like, randomly freezing, or just running into frame rate issues, just like inconsistencies there, or like the resolution will lower itself. And it was especially noticeable if I was playing it on a TV. However, the last time I made a video on Stadia, which I think was about 6 months ago, probably, people like Stadia defenders, I want to say, were definitely very much on board with like, no, Stadia is an amazing value, especially now that they do have a free tier. Now you just have to buy the games. You just can't play the games in 4K, essentially.
So you do plan on doing a sort of retrospective on Stadia relatively soon.
Yes, I'm going to be taking a look at what the game library looks like now. How performance is now on the exact same network that I had 6 months ago.
Now, I do have my own thoughts when it comes to cloud-based gaming services.
Okay,
and
go for it.
No, I feel like it's something we can go into a little bit more as that Stadia video comes around. You know, I guess foreshadowing for a future episode. You know, we'll probably talk a little bit more about that stuff because I feel like a lot of people who will defend services like Stadia or xCloud or whatever it may be. They do tend to forget that because they are cloud-based, they are dependent on a stable internet connection, which not everybody has.
Precisely.
And that's something that needs to be, considered when talking about, services or how great of a deal is. Like, yeah, sure, it's a good deal if you already live in a city that has Google Fiber, for example.
Yeah.
Or if you live in, just a big metropolitan city in general, your San Franciscos, your Chicagos, your New Yorks.
Right.
But if you live out in, say, Mobile, Alabama, you may not have that. If you live out in the rural countryside of Oklahoma, you probably don't have that. If you live out in the forests of Montana, you definitely don't have that.
Right. And that just goes to show that cloud gaming, I mean, at this point, I can easily say that, no, it's not for everybody. At least not until, let's say, 5G actually starts taking off. And then you
also have to expand the coverage in other parts of the country that don't already have better things.
Yeah, because I mean, right now there are very few towers. Certainly, I don't think that there are any towers near us, for instance.
Right.
Yeah, but there is one, I think, very far upstate, if I'm not mistaken. It's like one of the very few 5G towers in the country, and even now, people still say that 5G is very unstable.
Right. And again, you're still going off the assumption about 5G specifically. There's a lot of places in the country that probably don't even have like a stable 3G at this point in time. It's like, while we definitely need to speed up connections in those cities for everybody out there with 5G connections and stuff like that, or 6G when that comes around, maybe in a decade or so.
Yeah.
you also have to consider for the fact that there are a lot of people out there that don't have, a stable interconnection at all, let alone a 4G or 5G connection.
Yeah.
A lot of places that maybe only have one choice. There's obviously been a lot of bellyaching about Comcast over the past several evers. And, for a lot of places, Comcast is the only option. So Comcast can easily throttle them if they really want to, or if they're not covered out there. That's something that people have to consider when they're talking about these cloud gaming services being a great deal. But again, that's something we can go into a little bit more in the future, when we actually, look at that video that you make for Stadia. You also have other videos in the pipeline, don't you?
Yes, of course. There's actually going to be a PC build. So that PC build that I talked about with the RTX 3080.
With our, what's the term we were using? Mutual friend.
Mutual friend, yes.
With our, can't believe I brain fart on that. With our, hashtag mutual friend.
Yes, hashtag mutual friend with him. So there's going to be that build. I'm going to show the process and everything, how I went about it, how certain games performed when it came to ray tracing and that sort of stuff. But needless to say, super impressed, and I think that those watching will also have a pretty good time. That is going to be on the main channel, of course, so do make sure to stop by the Tech Summit channel.
That's right. And with that said, I think that's a little bit of everything for today. If there's anything else you want to note in particular at the moment, something of note?
Something to note is that starting off with this episode, in the future, all of the Tech Summit podcast episodes are going to be featured here on the Tech Summit podcast channel instead of on the main channel.
That's right. We have our own place.
We do, at last. So now, if you wanted to catch up with some tech reviews, or if you're interested in that RTX 3080 build, for instance, then do make sure to stop by my channel. I am going to be leaving the social medias right over here so that you can make sure to follow me over there.
And sure enough, my social media will be coming very soon. I'll probably just keep repeating that until eventually I have it all sorted out.
Yes, indeed. But until then, thank you so much for watching, and we'll be seeing you on the next episode.
All right. Good night. Travel well.
Enjoy.